We will call to order this meeting of the Budget Committee, September 2nd, 2025. First item of business is citizens communication. I believe we have none. Having none, we will close citizens communication. Next item of business is approval or accepting of the minutes from July 7th, 2025. Do I have a motion? All right, we have a motion to accept. Do we have any questions, comments, changes by any of the members? Seeing none, we'll have a vote to accept the minutes. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? We'll mark those unanimous. Next item up is transfers. And I think I gave my set of transfers. Here they are. We do these separately, or we do these all together? We do all these together separately. All right. First transfer, Circuit Court Clerk's Office, transferring $5. Do we have a motion to approve?
Motion.
Second. Second. Phoebe, would you like to explain?
Yes, so this is moving $5 from travel existing budget to dues and membership. We budgeted one number and the dues went up for the year, and we just came up with $5 short. So this is just to cover that surplus.
Very good. Any questions about that? Seeing none, I think we're ready to vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Mark it unanimous. Next item from Animal Control, request for a surplus mower. Can we have a motion?
Motion.
Second. Very good.
So this is just surplus vehicle. So the mowers actually are under threshold of what we normally present to you, but it was here, and so I included it when I included the vehicles. That's your next transfer request. But this is looking for a sound mower, which has already been identified, and we have trying to move that to the appropriate home.
Very good. Any questions from the committee? All right, seeing no further questions, I think we're ready to vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? We'll mark that unanimous. Next, request for an available surplus vehicle by the property department. Motion?
Motion.
This is a request from property, looking for 2 vehicles. We currently do not have any available, but as soon as they come up, and we will be first on the list.
Very good. Any questions from the committee? All right, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? We'll mark that one unanimous. Next item is a budget transfer from Insurance and Risk Management. Can we have a motion?
Motion.
Second. Can you explain this?
So yes, so this is, and Jim, maybe yours here in case in case we need some additional explanation, Jim is also here. This is moving money from the budget within the department for excess risk insurance and moving that to building and content insurance premiums. This is just an allocation when we received the package. I had budgeted in one line and it really needed to be in the other. But as I said, Jim is here to explain this one and the next one if there's any more needs.
Okay. Are there any questions for Jim from the committee? Any questions from the other commissioners? All right, seeing none, I think we're ready to vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? I want that one unanimous. Next, another budget transfer from Risk Management. We have a motion?
Motion.
Second.
And this is moving money to reclassify that budget from the excess risk line to the premiums for building and content.
Very good. Any questions for Jim on this from anyone? Seeing none, I think we're ready to vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? I'll mark it unanimous. Next we have from the Sheriff's Department, transfer from the drug fund budget. We have a motion?
Motion.
Second.
So we were asking to transfer funds from the budgeted line item for non-reoccurring expenses of $7,000 and to shift that to data processing so that we can allocate for the investigation software.
Any questions from the committee on that? Seeing none, I think we're ready to vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Mark that one unanimous. Next, we have another budget transfer request from the Sheriff's Department. We have a motion for $6,500. Can I have a motion?
Motion.
Second. Jamie.
So this transfer is moving funds for $6,500 from in-service staff development into other charges. This transfer is for available funds for service awards. So this is just moving that down to proper allocation and classification.
Okay. Any questions from the committee? All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? We'll mark that unanimous. Last looks like from Phoebe, this is transferring capital project line items to capital, to offset capital expenditures. Can we have a motion?
Motion.
And a second? Very good.
So yes, I have gone through for the last few weeks and after we closed the fiscal year, identifying projects that were complete, that had been previously allocated. These is closing those projects and moving them into current projects so that we did not either have to bond or ask the commission for additional funds. So as you can see, each line is still staying within those departments. So assessor money is still staying within the assessor's budget. It is just going from motor vehicles to software upgrades. Same for each of those. I'm moving funds to consolidate these lines to offset expenses for the coming year.
Always good to see things coming in under budget. Any questions from the committee? Seeing none, I think we're ready to vote. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? We'll mark that unanimous. All right, we will move on to resolutions. Resolution 9-25-2, resolution to reduce the speed limit along Guy Farrell Road located in the 4th District in Williamson County. We have a motion?
Motion.
Second. Very good. Looks like just a request to reduce the speed limit. I assume we're seeing this in budget because we have to buy a new road sign. Any questions from the committee? Anybody from the 4th? Oh,
So really quick, this one on consent agenda. Don't you just go on the consent agenda, speed limit changes?
We don't have consent in budget.
No.
So you just go over.
So it may make it to consent when we go to the main meeting. Very good.
It'll actually be heard tomorrow morning at the highway.
Very good. Any questions from the committee? Comfortable voting? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? We'll mark that one unanimous. Resolution 9-25-5, resolution amending the 2025-26 general purpose school budget to provide funding for approved teacher bonus. I have a motion?
Motion.
Second. And a second. Jason, tell us about.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This is actually a pass-through from state funds, from other state funds to the appropriate line items. This is the bonus that was approved by the legislature related to the ESA or voucher funding for most of our teachers, not all.
Okay. So these are all just state qualifications. We don't have any say in it. They tell us what we have to do with them.
That is correct. They gave us a specific list of teachers based on the nature of the work they did, the percentage of time they worked, etc.
Are there any questions from the committee?
How did you handle this during your budget process? Did you anticipate this, or Rachel, you did not?
Well, Mr. Mayor, the discussion at the legislative level was it was going to be exclusively state funds, so we are not using any of our current budget money on this. The state did not fund every teacher position based on their structure, and in our budgeting, we did not include any additional funds for those staff members who did not.
So, can I follow up, please? How many teachers are you looking at that, Rachel, how many teachers, you're Jane, that are not getting these bonuses?
Well, number one, these are teachers from last year, so some have retired and some have moved, and we have new ones now. 3,059 teachers from last year received the bonus. 348 did not qualify.
Didn't meet the guidelines.
Correct.
That's a state put forward.
That's correct. Whether they were worked a portion of a year, part-time, the part of the criteria was giving direct services to students more than half of the year. So, for example, instructional coaches didn't get it. It was just every single position was looked at directly by the state. So about 10% or so of those who work for us a portion of the year did not receive.
Any other questions from the committee? All right, if there are no further questions, I think we're ready to vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Mark that one unanimous. Resolution 9-25-6, resolution of the governing body of Williamson County, Tennessee, authorizing the issuance, sale, and payment of interest-bearing 2025-26 general purpose school fund tax anticipation notes not to exceed $13 million. Do we have a motion?
Motion.
Second. Phoebe, this is what we usually do every year. This
It
is
is.
until tax money starts rolling in from property tax commissions about in October.
That is correct, and we will not actually do anything or process this, obviously, if we do not need it. This is just to start the paperwork, because we do have to get approval from the comptroller.
Very good. Any questions from the committee? Commissioner Sturgeon.
Question, how often have we not needed to use it?
We did not last year, but we did maybe the year before. We had the last 2 years. So we have not needed the last 2 years, but we did the third year before that.
Very good. Any other questions? Seeing none, I think we're ready to vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Mark that unanimous. Resolution 9-25-7, resolution to surplus and approve the conveyance of vehicles owned by the county and authorizing the Williamson County mayor to execute all documentation needed to complete the conveyance. Do you have a motion?
Motion.
Second. Very good. Phoebe, you want to explain this for me?
Yes, so these are surplus vehicles that have been identified, that are used as through Team A program. These are just putting them in the auction that will be coming up in October, I believe. And our purchasing director is here if you have any further questions.
Any questions from the committee?
Yes.
Yes.
Chairman Mayor, are these mostly SUVs? Or
These are a lot of them,
They're
15 passenger vans,
Yes.
the bigger vans that they use, and they run their gamut.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
All right. Any further questions from the committee? All right. Seeing none, I think we're ready to vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? We'll mark that unanimous. Resolution 9-25-8, resolution appropriating and amending the 2025-26 assessor's budget by $8,636.99 for educational incentive salary supplements, revenues to come from state funds. We have a motion?
Motion.
Very good. Looks like these are just supplements and state funds. No matching required.
No matching up. These are just passed through. We receive these funds from the state, and then we pay those out to those that are eligible for the supplement.
Very good. Any questions from the committee? Commissioners? Seeing none, I think we're ready to vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Mark that unanimous. Resolution 9-25-9, resolution appropriating and amending the 2025-26 property assessor's budget by $15,000 to provide funding for meetings associated with the related reappraisal process expenses, revenues to come from unappropriated county general funds.
Motion.
Second. Very good. Well, I think everybody remembers we had a reappraisal last year, and that generated a lot of questions. It makes sense to me that we might have gone over on some of the meetings with relation to those.
That is correct. We had to actually extend that period for those hearings for the reappraisal process. Because of that, we have surpassed our budget for what we had paid or intended to pay that committee. This is to take care of that and to give us a little extra for anything that may come in throughout the year.
Very good. Any questions from the committee about that? Any questions, Commissioners? Commissioner Sturgeon?
Is this because we had more residents
Yes,
who
ma'am.
wanted to have a word with the appraiser?
That's correct.
Any other questions? Seeing none, I think we're ready to vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? We'll mark that unanimous. Resolution 9-25-10, resolution appropriating and amending the 2025-26 County Commission Tax Relief Program budget by $150,000 Revenues to come from unappropriated county general fund balance.
Motion.
Very good. Karen's here, fantastic.
Chairman and committee members. Yes, the county commission carries the budget for the tax relief program that's administered by our office. Actually, two tax relief programs under one umbrella there. It's the Williamson County Broad-Based Tax Relief Program and matching funds for the state of Tennessee tax relief program. And what is causing the, well, it's not a shortfall yet, but if we amend the way that tax relief, the matching funds are computed to make up a difference in a reduced amount that's been provided by the state for each applicant this year, then it would mean that we need to fund additional $150,000. And I did send a letter that accompanied this by way of explanation, but I'll be happy to answer specific questions or go into that more.
So this is a problem that we have every couple of years because of the ratio difference. The state appraises every 2 years, and we appraise 3. Is that part of it?
Well, actually, 3 years ago, it was because of the equalization factor, the ratio. This year, it's because now that we're not under the equalization ratio, but we've had a reappraisal, the tax rate itself has come down, and the equation used to compute the tax relief is based on the first, in this case, $32,700 for seniors, $175,000 for disabled veterans, applied to the tax rate. So what I had computed was, or looked at the numbers and realized that our seniors, disabled and disabled veterans are going to get less relief. So even those who are on the tax freeze program, in effect, would be getting a tax increase because they'll be getting less assistance. So I talked to Mary Anderson about it and just decided that it was something that we would bring to you as a commission to see if you wanted to make up that difference.
Mr. Chairman, if I could, we've got 1,358 individuals that take advantage of this. Last year, we had budgeted $920. Am I looking at that right?
Yes, sir. $920,000 has been the budget.
So we've done two things here. One is, Karen has broken this out by jurisdiction. So if you're, for an example, in Franklin, we have 261 people in Franklin that take advantage of the elderly. In the disabled area for the tax relief for our veterans, there's 1,100 in Franklin, 91 that are disabled veterans, and 20 that are still with us. I think it is important to note that the county commissions started these different tax relief, tax freeze for our citizens all throughout. Now, every jurisdiction makes use of these. It doesn't matter if you're in Fairview or Nolensville. There are individuals that are taking advantage to make up that nearly 1,358. What is a little bit different this year is that Karen is also making a journey next Monday night. She will be at our county commission meeting a little bit late, that she's reaching out to the Franklin Special District for them to engage those tax dollars that they receive, because they can, which they did 2 years ago, raise taxes. So we're getting that relief for those citizens rather than us having to pick that up also. Now, their board will have to vote on that. But she got a real good favorable response from Dr. David Snowden from what they're doing.
Seems like they're going to raise taxes. They ought to pitch in on helping our disabled vets as well. So I hope they will. Hope your message is well received. Are there any questions from the committee? Yes, Mr. Esther.
Does this mean you highly recommend that people make an appointment and come in and speak to someone in your office for the
Yes, Commissioner.
tax freeze?
Yes, so anyone who thinks they may qualify for tax relief or tax freeze, we do schedule an appointment because we treat it, well, each person is an individual circumstance, but, you know, income and residencies verified. And so whatever the applicant in their state, in their situation can qualify for, that's what we do. So usually it takes about at least 30, 45 minutes per applicant to sit down and go over all their information. But I just would like to add and appreciate so much because our office does make direct contact and see our citizens face to face. Appreciate the support over the years of the commission for these programs. And I just want to stress, I think I said it at the end of the letter, that these programs are vital to many, many people in our county. And without them, some of them couldn't afford to stay in their homes. It's that we have some very low income, it's particularly seniors and in our disabled community. And so important.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr.
Mr. Chairman, one more comment. She brought it up, the tax freeze is income based. What is that income based now on the tax freeze?
The income limit this year, it's $67,400, I believe.
So the reason I'm bringing it up because it has been televised. Those tax reliefs are for the unincorporated Williamson County, Fairview, and Spring Hill.
Yes.
The other cities have chose not to participate in this, but they can participate. So when you have a tax increase and your income this year is that mid-60 number, your taxes are locked. And if you go up on taxes again, you're still frozen at this old number. That's very important. Franklin is considering this for this year. Now, they've already sent in, but we had a conversation with them. And those municipalities that do not participate in this are missing an opportunity to help those citizens, because those folks in Evansville, those folks in Thompson Station, Brentwood, I'm forgetting the other one, they don't enjoy that tax relief at all. And by our own list, every single municipality has them. So I really would reach out and encourage these other cities to participate in that.
And I will add that the Franklin Board of Mayor and Aldermen is also considering increasing their matching amount. They already match funds on the state program, and they're considering later this month doing what I've brought before you here, which is to increase their matching amount for their citizens.
Any other questions, comments from the committee, fellow commissioners, Commissioner Sturgeon?
I'm just curious, looking at it as a whole, what percent comes from the state and what percent comes from Williamson County?
So under the formula, the prescribed formula, it's dollar for dollar. So it would be the same amount from the state as from the county. So what I've proposed is the county picking up an additional amount because of the reduction in the state amount. So for instance, based on the 2024 tax rate at $1.88 on the county rate, each senior would get $154 from the state and $154 from the county. A disabled veteran would get $822 because of their higher factor from the state based on the 24 tax rate, but that amount would be $569 this year. So, and then the 3 years ago, the commission did pass, the county only matches the veterans part piece up to what we do for the seniors. But in this case, we're talking about making up that difference from the state. So it'll be more skin in the game for the county than the state at this point, but that's really
So it won't be 50-50 anymore?
Won't be 50-50.
Thank you.
That's a good question, Mr. Chairman, if I could. So when you think about our disabled veterans, and for the elderly, 25% of a number, we have reappraisal. 25% of that number at $1.88 is a lot different than 25% of the appraisal day at $1.30. And the states did not go up. So once again, they're asking the county commissioners to step up and help in that number. But if we're gonna do economic incentives for businesses to come here, now not everybody votes for those, then we need to consider the very existing people that are living here, have lived here a very long time, to match those. For our disabled veterans and the widows, am I
Yes.
correct in saying that?
Widows and widowers of disabled veterans.
They're up to 175,000 now.
And it has been that for several years. It doesn't have an escalator.
So you could live anywhere and have that 175
Yes.
on your house.
And if I may, Commissioner Sturgeon, the state does provide a significant amount of funding. I think this year it's $41.2 million in the state budget, but it's for all 95 counties. And so as different counties have different tax rates and are in different stages between reappraisals. So it affects all counties sort of on a rolling basis.
Does the state change that amount?
I mean, they have increased it some over the years, but they're already facing a forecasted shortfall in this program, a fairly significant one, just from the growth of applicants and the number of, frankly, disabled veterans who qualify now for the program. And so even as it stands now, they're going to have to increase funding.
They're increasing funding, but we're getting less.
Yes.
And I'm going,
Most of the time, other counties don't do what you all are asked to do. Just assume the veterans or the disabled or the widows. And whether you all agree or not, it comes out of this committee, I'm sure it'll be a positive vote, but I just find it very difficult to vote not to help them, the people that have lived here, and at the same time, we're pouring money into.
I just wish the state would care as much as we do.
I was gonna say silent on that one. Are there any further questions or comments from any commissioners or the committee? If not, then I think we're ready to vote. Commissioner Carden, welcome aboard. This is item 9-25-10. Hearing no further questions or comments, I think we're ready to vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? We'll mark that unanimous. Resolution 9-25-11, resolution appropriating and amending the 2025-2026 library budget by $151,948.93. Revenues to come from donations, contributions, and fines.
Motion.
Second. Pretty self-explanatory, but maybe you want to tell us,
Yes, these are donations that were either received in the current year or in prior fiscal year that were not spent, and these are just putting those and allocating it into the expenditure budget for utilization.
Any questions from the committee? Any questions from the commissioners? Commissioner Petty, you didn't turn in any late books this year, did you? Very good. Seeing no questions, I think we're ready to vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? We'll mark that unanimous. Resolution 9-25-12, resolution appropriating and amending the 2025-2026 Health Department budget by $525, revenues to come from donations. We have a motion?
Motion.
And a second, Commissioner Webb. Kathy, you come tell us about backpacks.
Yes, sir. So we did have our 22nd annual backpack giveaway on July the 26th, and I will say that we gave away 1,062 backpacks in under 3 hours through a drive-through. These funds, the $525, are just funds that were donations that were received after the event, and so we'll use those in June before the end of the fiscal year for next year.
Very good. Any questions from the committee? Any questions from the commissioners? Seeing none, I think we're ready to vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? We'll mark that unanimous. Resolution 9-25-13, resolution appropriating and amending the 2025-2026 county general budget by $75,056.91. Revenues to come from victim assessment fees. A motion? Second. A second. All right. Phoebe, can you explain
Yes, this is a fee that is collected, as you can see, for court cases for victim assessment. And these are funds that were collected in the last fiscal year, and this is just allocating those funds into the current budget.
Very good. Any questions from the committee? Any questions from the commissioners? Seeing none, I think we're ready to vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? I'll mark that unanimous. Resolution 9-25-14, resolution appropriating and amending the 2025-26 Parks and Recreation budget by $182,620.63. Revenues to come from donations and reserves. A motion? Second. A second. Very good. This is like just fees that we collected from officials?
Yes, yes, sir. These are from our youth associations, and this is the collection of those fees to put them in our budget so that we can offset the cost of part-time employees and products that we need to run those programs.
Any questions from the committee about these? Questions, commissioners? Seeing none, I think we're ready to vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? We'll mark that one unanimous. Resolution 9-25-15, resolution authorizing the Williamson County Mayor to enter into a grant contract with the Arts Build Communities Designated Agency and appropriating and amending the 2025-26 Parks and Recreation budget by $2,000, revenues to come from grant funds.
Motion.
Second. All right. No matching funds, look like a
No
grant.
matching funds. This is a new grant for this year.
Very good. Any questions from the committee? Any questions from the commissioners? Seeing none, I think we're ready to vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? We'll mark that unanimous. Resolution 9-25-16, resolution appropriating and amending the 2025-2026 Parks and Recreation budget by $75,000, revenues to come from rollover state grant funds. Have a motion?
Motion.
Second. Very good. Coordinator? Rick is.
Rick, yes.
Rick, what's this for? Brownfield investigations?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Yeah, this is a grant we received last year, rolling over to this fiscal year. So the state's doing an investigation at Gregory Park and Bending Chestnut, look for any hazardous type materials on the properties. Once we get the final report, it will allow us to apply for additional grant funds to do any kind of remediation work that may be necessary on those two properties.
Very good. Any questions from the committee? Any questions from the commissioners? Commissioner Petty?
Yeah, this is just an investigation. It has nothing to do with remediation of the issue.
Correct. No remediation this time. They're just investigating both locations, both properties, and we'll file a report, we'll get the report, and then we'll be able to take action based on
And the expectation is we go back to the state for money for remediation, right?
Correct. We will be able to apply for grant funds, but we can't do that without the report.
Yeah.
Mr. Sturgeon?
I don't know, is there a reason? I mean, is there a problem we already know exists out there?
Gregory has some abandoned pieces of buildings and outbuildings. At Gregory Park, there is a old utility district. It used to be run by Nolensville College Road. So there are some abandoned items there that has to be inspected before we can actually decide how we remove it. And in Chestnut, if there's any future development out there, we need to do this as part of that.
What kind of, what are they looking for? What kind of abandoned equipment? Is this like fuel tanks or something like
It
that?
could be anything like that. There's a lot of stuff like that throughout the county. Old fuel tanks underground, there could be people just dropping waste, appliances, it could be anything buried in the ground, so.
We, just to answer a little bit more on your question, we have another brownfield grant we're doing for the College Grove, Triune. There's a lot of, at one time, there was an old battery manufacturing that occurred at College Grove. And a lot of that leakage leaks around, so you do investigations. This now that been in Chestnut where 840 went through, you have a lot of debris the state may have left behind. But we have one of the bridges out there that we oftentimes have to go out and remove refrigerators, mattresses, and a lot of other things. They just go over the top of the bridge and then it lands down on the Brittany Chestnut side. So they have to determine how much damage is done. This grant allows us to do it for the future grant of the remediation.
Thank you.
Any other questions? See none, I think we're ready to vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Mark it unanimous. Resolution 9-25-17, resolution appropriating and amending the 2025-26 Parks and Recreation Capital Improvement Program budget by $55,000, revenues to come from recreational privilege tax funds. Have a
Motion.
Second. Very good. Phoebe?
Yes, this is to utilize the funds that we collect for privilege tax for Parks and Recreation. There is some need to replace some lighting at the auditorium. So this is trying to do some upgrades for that theater to utilize those.
Very good. Any questions from the committee? Any questions from the commissioners? Seeing none, I think we're ready to vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? I'll mark that unanimous. Resolution 9-25-18, resolution appropriating and amending the 2025-2026 Parks and Recreation budget by $97,000, revenues to come from rollover state grant funds.
Motion.
Second. Very good. I see no matching funds. That's usually my first look. Phoebe?
This is a grant that we were awarded last year. We did not utilize, as you can see, the majority of those funds. We're just trying to get those in current budget. This is to help expand our Wi-Fi services in our public facilities and some digital literacy classes.
Very good. Any questions from the committee? Any questions from the commissioners? Seeing none, I think we're ready to vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? I'll mark that unanimous. Resolution 9-25-19, resolution appropriating and amending the 2025-26 general sessions budget, revenues received in prior fiscal year from state of Tennessee and unappropriated county general fund balance.
Motion.
Second. Again, I think Thomas says everything there. These are funds that we received previously. And just
Correct, these are just rolling over.
Okay, just rolling over funds. Any questions from the committee? Any questions from the commissioners? Seeing none, I think we're ready to vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? We'll mark that unanimous. Resolution 9-25-20, resolution appropriating and amending the 2025-2026 Veterans Treatment Court budget by $20,000, revenues to come from Veterans Treatment Court Reserve. Have a motion?
Motion.
Second. Very good, Phoebe. Or, sorry. Oh, thank
It's
you.
actually Tracy, yes.
Is our county reserve line that we move from year to year for different operational tasks.
Any questions from the committee about this? Any questions from the commissioners? Thank you very much. Seeing none, I think we're ready to vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? We'll mark unanimous. Resolution 9-25-21, resolution appropriating and amending the 2025-26 Veterans Treatment Court budget by $117,527, revenues to come from grant funds. Motion?
Motion.
Second. Looks like this is the last of 3-year budget cycle we've got. Very good. The state opioid funds, where do we get these?
Yes, this is state opioid funds that have been awarded through their state appropriation of those funds, and this is just the current year's allocation.
Very good.
Just for informational purposes, so that you all know what we do with these funds have actually been used to help our veterans to receive the financial piece through Dave Ramsey service dogs for our veterans that need service dogs, and also on-site trauma treatment.
Any questions from the committee? Any questions from the commissioners? Seeing none, I think we're ready to vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Unanimous. Resolution 9-25-22, a resolution appropriating and amending the 2025-26 Williamson County Veterans Treatment Court budget by $302,934.31 for the Veterans Court Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Grant, revenues to come from rollover federal grant funds.
Motion?
Second.
This is our federal grant that we hold for veterans that the majority of our treatment sources come from.
And just didn't get it all spent last year, so roll into this year. Very good. Any questions from the committee? Any questions from the commissioners? Seeing none, I think we're ready to vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? We'll mark it unanimous. Resolution 9-25-23. This is just a resolution appropriating $30,596.48 to the 21st District Recovery Court, revenues to come from dedicated account. Have a motion?
Motion.
Second. A second. We have anybody here from 21st Recovery Court? Not Connie. That's all right. Phoebe?
So these funds were collected last fiscal year. These are the fees that are collected based on per case. This is our collection so that we can allocate to the 21st Judicial Recovery Court for ongoing operations.
Very good. Any questions from the committee? Any questions from the commissioners? Seeing none, I think we're ready to vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? We'll mark it unanimous. Resolution 9-25-24, resolution appropriating $41,996.27 from the 21st District Recovery Court, revenues to come from DUI fines. A motion?
Motion.
Second.
And again, this looks like the same thing, just a
Same thing.
court
This is-
assessed.
Yes, this is the DUI portion.
Very good. Any questions from the committee? Any questions from the commissioners? Seeing none, I think we're ready to vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? I'll mark it unanimous. Resolution 9-25-25, resolution appropriating and amending the 2025-26 DUI Recovery Court budget by $148,309, revenues to come from grant funds. Do we have a motion?
Motion.
Second. Second. Phoebe, is this just?
These are, this is Brandon
Go
Ward.
ahead.
Oh, there you go.
No.
Thank you.
Please.
This is our year 2 from the state opioid grant, no matching funds. And these funds were utilized for treatment services and also for our compliance officer.
Oh, I'm sorry, you have to identify yourself.
Oh, Danielle Gomez, court coordinator, sorry.
Thank you. And so this is year 2 or 3, you said?
Yes, sir.
Very good. Any questions from the committee? Any questions from the commissioners? Seeing none, I think we're ready to vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? We'll mark it unanimous. Resolution 9-25-26, resolution appropriating and amending the 2025-2026 Williamson County General Sessions DUI court budget by $238,819.71 for the DUI Court Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Grant, revenues to come from rollover federal grant funds. Do we have a motion?
Motion.
A second? It's coming.
Our SAMHSA federal grant, they are on a different fiscal year than what the county fiscal year is. Their fiscal year runs from September 30th to September 29th, so we are just rolling over for our quarter 4 with the federal.
Very good. Any questions from the committee? Any questions from the commissioners? Seeing none, I think we're ready to vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? We'll mark that unanimous. Resolution 9-25-27, resolution appropriating and amending the 2025-26 Williamson County General Sessions DUI court budget by $133,805.77. Revenues to come from unappropriated county general fund balance. Have a motion?
Motion.
And a second. Very good.
This is our fundraising and donation account where all of our donations come into, but also our fundraiser that we do once a year with the annual golf tournament that's in November.
Very good. Any questions from the committee? Any questions from the commissioners? Seeing none, I think we're ready to vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? We'll mark that unanimous.
Siri warns you know what time it is.
Siri was telling me what?
It's 5:16 p.m.
Thank you very much.
Whether you ask or not.
Keeping me on track. Resolution 9-25-28, resolution approving an intercategory transfer of $22,568 between the 2025-26 Williamson County Juvenile Services and Sheriff's Office detention budgets.
Motion.
Very good. We saw a little bit of this in law enforcement the other day. This, I think, as I understand, is just the additional nursing services, and we're splitting those between juvenile and the sheriff's department.
That is correct. Additional hours for
You'll have
contracted.
to, I'm sorry, but you'll have to go to the microphone.
Chairman, this is additional hours that we're contracted with. It's the juvenile service office who will be sharing in that portion. So we're doing an transfer between our budget and their budget so that they can pay the bills.
Makes sense to me. Any questions from the commission, committee, commissioners? Seeing none, I think we're ready to vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? We'll mark it unanimous. Resolution 9-25-29. Resolution amending the 2025-2026 juvenile service budget in the amount of $192,000 revenues to come from state grant funds.
Motion.
Motion, a second. Then you want to tell us about this?
Thank you so much, Mr. Chairman. Zanny Martin, Juvenile Court Director. This is just amending the budget to accept a grant that we've been awarded now for a little over 10 years to fund our intensive probation department. The contract was actually already approved several months ago. This is just the fiscal portion of that. And there's no match to this grant.
Very good. Any questions from the committee? Any questions from the commissioners? Seeing none, I think we're ready to vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? We'll mark it unanimous. Resolution 9-25-30, resolution accepting a generous donation on behalf of the Williamson County Sheriff's Office from Mr. Jason Aldean for the purchase of K-9 uniforms and appropriating and amending the 2025-26 Sheriff's Office budget by $5,000. Do we have a motion? And a second? Somewhere in there. Very good. Looks like it's K-9 uniforms. I don't know if we need too much of an explanation unless you've got drawings that you can show us or some sort of fashion spread.
No. Mr. Chairman, this is money that Mr. Aldean has graciously given to the Sheriff's Office, $5,000 so that we can use it for K-9 uniforms and other related K-9 equipment. That's all that. Very, very good for him to do something like that.
Absolutely. Any questions from the committee? Any questions from Commissioner Richards?
I'm just wondering if you could tell me how this came about, how we ended up, did somebody ask him, or if you don't know, it's okay.
I don't have the background.
Yeah, I want to hear the story.
He's never done it before.
Okay.
Never mind.
Maybe the gift horse, don't look the gift horse.
True words.
You're gonna have to
So I have a question. Are these uniforms bulletproof? I mean, a Kevlar, or how does that work?
With no further comments or questions, I think we're ready to vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? We'll mark that unanimous. Resolution 9-25-31, resolution appropriating and amending the 2025-26 Sheriff's Office budget by $83,000 $333.34 revenues to come from grant funds. For the motion? Second. Very good.
Mr. Chairman, this is the annual grant for hiring and retention bonuses. It is no matching funds, and it is carryover from last year.
Very good. Any questions from the committee? Any questions from the commissioners? Seeing none, I think we're ready to vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? I'll mark that unanimous. Resolution 9-25-32, resolution appropriating and amending the 2025-26 Williamson County budget by $896,697.15 for county opioid abatement funds, revenues to come from rollover funds.
Motion.
Second. Phoebe, these are just carryover funds from last year?
Yes, they are. So these are the county's opioid abatement funds that we've been awarded. If you recall, the beginning of last year, the commission approved each of these separately. This is just a rollover that they have until December to spend those funds, into December.
Very good. Any questions from the committee about this? Any questions from commissioners? Seeing none, I think we're ready to vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? We'll mark that unanimous. Resolution 9-25-33, an initial resolution authorizing the issuance of not to exceed $21,600,000 of general obligation bonds of Williamson County, Tennessee.
Motion.
Second. Maybe this is just because these are general obligation bonds, they have to be run in the paper beforehand?
That is correct. This is the initial resolution. Any county projects have to be run in the paper to give the citizens the opportunity to petition against us issuing the debt.
So you'll then come to us next month.
Next month, I will come to you with the total on how much we would like to go to market for the bonds for this year, yes.
Any questions from the committee about this? Any questions from the commissioners?
Are we eventually is there a list of projects associated with this?
There is actually, there's a resolution a couple down that you will see the projects. It will be coming up soon, yes.
Very good. Any further questions? Seeing none, I think we're ready to vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? We'll mark that unanimous. Resolution 9-25-34, resolution adopting the capital projects fund budget for the Williamson County Adequate Facilities Tax, the Williamson County Adequate Schools Facilities Tax, and the Williamson County Education Impact Fee for the 2025-26 fiscal year.
Motion.
Second. And a second. All right, Phoebe.
Yes, this is our annual appropriation for our privilege tax and education impact fee. This is something the comptroller had asked us to do several years ago to get this because they see these as recurring local revenues. Therefore, we are required to present a budget to you. This is just an overall summary of the projects. Each one of these projects come to you separately to be approved. A lot of these rollover are just ones that you've already approved to get them set up in a budget and go through that formality of setting up an official budget for these.
So these aren't intents to fund.
These are not intensive funds. This is not obligating anything else. Any funds that we pull from this will come to you separately for your approval of the project.
Do you have any questions from the committee about this? Any questions from the fellow commissioners? Seeing none, I think we're ready to vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Resolution 9-25-35, resolution appropriating and amending the 2025-2026 county general fund budget by $261,467.90, revenues to come from existing budgeted funds and rollover federal grants funds.
Motion.
Very good.
So this is grant that was awarded previous year. There was a matching, but we had also appropriated those funds last year out of fund balance. This is just to roll those monies over the match and the grant award.
Okay, so we'd already approved the 100,000.
We already approved the 100,000 and only 52 of our match has been spent.
Very good.
Or not spent.
Any questions from the committee on that? Any questions from the commissioners? Seeing none, I think we're ready to vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Unanimous. Resolution 9-25-36, resolution appropriating and amending the 2025-26 capital projects budget by $2,252,647, revenues to come from county general fund balance.
Motion.
Second. Very good. Phoebe, can you explain how we've done this?
Yes, so if you recall in July, I came to you with a very lengthy resolution allocating capital projects, pulling those funds out of the general fund. As I stated then, I would be looking at, after closing, if there was any funds that we were able to absorb additionally in fund balance, rather than going to market and to bond those. I know we have identified that the vehicles for the sheriff's department, as well as the EMS ambulance, with those being a useful life of only 5 years, instead of bonding those, we did close the fiscal year with a little over 1.6 above what I had estimated. So using some existing funds in closed projects and pulling from fund balance, pull these safely from fund balance and still maintain our 6% of expenditures for the.
I know there was some concern about using bonds for vehicles without a.
With a
expected
5-year useful
of
life,
just 5
exactly,
years, so
or a 20-year
that's-
bond.
That's wonderful. Are there any questions from the committee?
Now, Mr. Chair, I'd like to echo what you said. This is great that we're not bonding patrol vehicles and ambulances. Good thing. Thanks to Ms. Riley.
Particularly recall your objections to that.
Yeah, always.
As are mine. Any questions from the commissioners? Commissioner Herbert?
This is for the sheriff. This is for the new, how many deputy cars this is?
Appears to be 23.
Are you gonna have to buy any new equipment for the cars, or does this include?
Commissioner Herbert, if you could step up to the mic and ask. Or at least move up to the table. We'll defer to the gentleman to fix it.
Chief King.
I guess my question was, in these new vehicles, can you use any of the old equipment, or have you gotta buy new equipment for it?
We can use what we have, stripping out of these old cars, but the old cars are not compatible with the new ones that we have. The year models changed, so we have to order the newer model stuff. So,
Can you send me, I know you may not have it right now, is an email telling how many cars and what type of cars you're going to
Sure.
buy?
Yeah.
Okay.
I can do that.
All right, thank you.
Any other commissioners, questions, comments, members of the committee? Seeing none, I think we're going to vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? We'll mark that unanimous. Resolution 9-25-37, resolution authorizing the Williamson County Mayor to approve an addendum to extend the Conference Center operating agreement with Brothers Hotel Partners LLC for the continued operation of the Conference Center at Cool Springs. Do you have a motion? Second. Phoebe, you want to talk to us about this?
Yes, this is extending the conference center agreement, extending it for an additional 10 years. There's no change in terms, this is just us extending that. If you will note, there should be a chart for the last, it's in the existence from 1999 up until 2025 fiscal year. The county has collected $4,673,332 from the conference center. There have only been 3 years that we have obtained a loss. One was COVID, obviously, that we would expect, but for the majority of the time, we have maintained a profit in our county share. So we do have a representative here if there's any other questions that you would like to ask. But this is just extending that agreement for the next 10 years.
I have a couple questions. When does this expire otherwise?
27.
27? Probably, yep, there it is. On or about October 15th, 2027. And I think I noted some of you sent it out. This is, fees are capped at 3% or CPI. Is that correct?
So that is what we as the owners pay for that operating, for them to operate and maintain. Yes, that's the maintenance fee.
And that's been the existing
It has been
terms.
existing since 1997, yes.
Has the market changed in any way for conference center management providers? Are there new players in the market? Is there any reason to think we get a more competitive bid from somewhere else? You're probably not going to tell me that. Why don't you go up and introduce yourself? Tell me who your competitors are. Tell me who's going to beat you at 5% CPI.
My name is Michael Sanders. I'm with Chartwell Hospitality. And I can't answer that question because it's these are not very common structures to manage these conference centers. For our business, at least, it does happen across the United States. I don't know the answer to that.
Okay.
I can tell you it's competitive when you compare it to a hospitality management agreement.
Are there any questions from other committee members?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. Michael, what's the sole purpose of asking for this extension to carry out to, I know it comes up in 2027. Is this for you all to go and secure money from the banks for a letter of credit? Is that what it's about?
Mr. Mayor, that's exactly correct. We are currently trying to refinance the hotel. And as you can imagine, any bank that's going to finance that hotel is concerned about the future of the conference center. So that is the sole purpose.
Any questions from the committee? Any questions from my other commissioners? Commissioner Richards.
Thank you. I'm just gonna say I've got some concerns about approving a contract 2 years out. I'm not sure that complies with state purchasing laws. I also, have we ever bid out this contract?
To my knowledge, we entered into it in the 90s when the city and the county both put money in to build a conference center for that side of the interstate to help build up the travel and be able to feed people to stay in the hotel or motel. Several years ago, less than 10, I don't know the exact time, we did investigate what would it look like. I think we talked this around COVID time or maybe a little before. What would it look like if the county was no longer in the business of supporting the conference center?
I don't believe it was ever actually bid out because if I remember correct, when we were going through the original construction, it was identified that it was unlikely that anyone would be willing to manage a conference center that was attached to another operator's
Aren't we still
structure.
required to do that though?
We weren't at the time, no. So because of the nature of we own it and the cross easements that were entered into because of the connection with the building, I'd have to go back and look because that is almost 30-some years old that we did that. I'd have to go back and look and see if there was an opinion issued at that time.
Okay, is that part of the original ITB?
The what?
Intent to bid? Like the original, that's in order to get a waiver from not at each contract renewal point, you'd need to have some language in the original ITB to state that, and even then, there's only certain professional
I'd have to look at what provision it was done, and I'm not sure that applies to sole providers anyway. So the question would then become, is a sole provider because you're attached to the hotel is managing it or not? I'd have to look back though. I can't tell you off the top of my head what the opinion was from 30-some years ago.
Okay, so you don't think the bidding, we don't have to bid out services to that sole providers are providing?
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Coach what?
So since we got Michael here, that property committee came up the other day, why would we do this 2 years in advance? And I tried to, give what my experience would be in the sense that, conventions are booking 5 years out. Heck, some weddings are booking 24 months out. And so if I were gonna book a convention and I knew that this expired in 27, I'm go somewhere else. Because you may not be here if I need a convention in 28 and 29 and 30. And so this is a little different than renting an apartment or leasing a car because things are planned so far out. Is that correct?
That is a correct statement. Anyone contracting beyond that extension would be contracting with an entity that technically doesn't exist.
So is that pretty common that when these kind of arrangements come up for management, they're either a clause in it that the future manager will take it over and honor, if I book this for 28 and 29, the either Chartwell or the subsequent manager would honor that contract.
Those are built into the contract typically, because hotels will sell as well. And so there's a clause in there that will protect the client in that case.
Thank you.
Has this come before the city of Franklin yet? Do they have to vote on this as well?
So I was at their meeting recently, their work session. We discussed it. And then I believe it goes to vote here on the 8th, and then they go to vote on the 9th.
Any other questions from the committee? Any questions from the commissioners? Seeing none, I think we're ready to vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Mark that unanimous.
Thank you.
Resolution 9-25-38, resolution of the intent to fund certain county general projects totaling $16,700,000 in a 2025-2026 bond or note issue.
Motion.
Motion and a second. And I think this goes to Commissioner Sturgeon's questions earlier.
It is. This includes the projects that we intend to fund that were included in the 21 million. The only thing you can see, this is listed as 16 million. The addition is 5 million from last year that we had the intent to fund half and half of the College Grove Park project. We were going to do we did an intent to fund, we bonded 5 last year, and we're going to bond 5 this year. So that makes up the difference between these projects and the difference in that 21 million. You can see that the College Grove, you can see at the bottom, there is, again, we're doing this in phases. So that's why we're trying to go ahead and get the intent to fund so that we can start the project, but we will do this 5 million this fiscal year, 5 million again next year fiscal year.
Okay. Any questions from the committee? Any questions from the commissioners? Commissioner Richards.
I don't know who to ask this to, but there's some things in here that I approve of, there's some things that I don't. Can we break that out in the commission meeting if we want to?
Yes, I mean, you can vote on if you don't want to, on the intent to fund, is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I don't want to fund the College Grove Park, but everything else I agree with, so.
You could make a motion to partition under Robert's rules that would allow you to partition out the item that you wanted to vote on separately.
Thank you.
Commissioner.
I didn't really understand the explanation on the extra $5 million. What is it for?
So last year we did an intent to fund, it was for the Parks project. It was actually, for the Bethesda Park project. It was an intent to fund Resolution 7-24-6 of last year. And so we were breaking that up to offset what we were actually bonding for that Bethesda project, doing that in phases. So this year we're gonna include 9 million for that. Just as we're doing in this one for the intent to fund for the College Grove.
5 million.
No, the Bethesda is 9 million. The intent to fund for the College Grove, we're splitting up between 5 and 5 for this year and next year.
I'm just trying to add up to 16,700,000. And having trouble doing that by adding 9 million.
Oh, the 9 million is to get the 21. The 16 million is just these projects you have listed here for the construction of the ESS station, the fire engine, the Castle Park, and only 5, or the 2 5s for the College Grove in 2 phases. So that's the 16. The 9 million is for the initial.
16, I'm just looking at the numbers. It says 1,000,005 and then 5 million twice. So
No.
You're missing
It looks like
30.
it's blacked out.
Yeah, 3 million. There's some that's shaded
Yeah, it looks like it's
there.
blacked out. For some reason, it looks like it's blacked out.
There's
So it is
$5.2 million.
I'm going crazy here.
No, it looks like when it was copied, it was dark. So you're looking at a fire engine for 1.5, construction 3.4, Castle Park of 1.8, and College Grove 10 million.
Okay, and then the 9 million is to finish Bethesda?
Yes, and that will offset the cost for this draw for Bethesda, and that makes up your 21 million for your initial. My apologies, I didn't realize it came out black on the copies. Yes.
Commissioner Hurley.
I guess I'm gonna speak in favor of the College Grove Park. This property was bought over 20 years ago, and this is property that probably, it's the same it was 40, 50 years ago. And this is in an area that's got some of the most expensive subdivisions and pays some of the biggest taxes in the county. And this is not for any big buildings, it's just for ball fields, pickleball, walking trails. And I think it's College Grove's time to finally get something nice in our area. Thank you.
Any other questions from the committee? Any other commissioners? Seeing none, I think we're ready to vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? I'll mark that unanimous. Resolution 9-25-39, resolution approving and authorizing the county mayor to execute the medical and prescription benefit plan contract with Cigna Health and Life Insurance Company.
Motion.
All right. You've got Gina here. With Gina here. There she is. I understand there's an 85-page contract somewhere. 92 pages, I apologize.
It's only 81. We did an RFP for the administrative services for the medical and prescription program, and Cigna was awarded that RFP. This is what that contract is for. And it's just for the administrative services. We'll have the plan document finalized in the next couple of weeks.
And that goes into effect in January.
Yes.
Are there any questions from the committee about this? Any questions from the commissioners? Seeing none, I think we're ready to vote then. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? I'll mark that unanimous. Resolution 9-25-40, resolution authorizing the Williamson County Mayor to enter into an interlocal agreement with the town of Thompson Station concerning law enforcement coverage. Have a motion? Motion. Second? Very good. Sheriff, is this what I was in Thompson Station about the other day?
Yes, sir.
You want to tell us about it?
Yeah, I'll be happy to. Excuse my dove hunting clothes. My front row folks are doing a great job here today though. So, yeah, I came down at the request of the mayor and the city administrator and just asked to make a presentation about allocation of resources as it relates to Thompson Station and what we thought that, cost could potentially be in comparison to, say, like Fairview, who is similar in size, population, and just talked about, the potential for them starting their own police department and their desire to do that and things that they needed to consider. And obviously you were there and spoke as well. And they presented us with a $250,000 check at that time and noted that, they paid what they were asked to pay. And if y'all recall, we didn't feel like it was appropriate we increased their fee 100%. So we went from 125 to 250. And we certainly believe that the cost of providing that service is a lot more. And as y'all know, whether we charge them or they pay us is irrelevant of the fact that we still have to provide the services. If they don't provide us anything, I think they're willing to pay more. It's just determining what that number is and presenting that to them. And I think that we continue to look at that number going up because we know that the cost of providing someone, even though it's not exclusively, is worth far more than $250,000.
I certainly came out of that meeting with the same belief you did that Thompson Station was prepared to pay more, so.
Yes.
Negotiated as aggressively as.
That's correct.
You feel comfortable.
That's correct.
Commissioner Webb.
So, Sheriff, sorry to call you Chief. Let me get this straight. Sheriff. First name Chief, last name Sheriff. Okay, Corporal. There you go.
There you go.
Hey, do you have any idea what the Fairview Police Department budget is? That was discussed by
Captain Mobley. I don't recall off the top of my head what that budget is, but I think he said they had somewhere around 30 police officers. And it's all dependent upon whether they want to provide a 24-hour police department or whether they want to, start out by just providing a partial service during the daytime hours. I'm not sure. Yes.
Mr. Chairman, well, we have appropriated $60,000 for that's for fire chief, correct?
Okay.
Okay, this is law enforcement.
Correct.
How much would a police or a sheriff's vehicle cost?
Well, the problem is we can't provide them a deputy exclusively because they have to go where the calls are. So we can't just say this person is going to only service Thompson Station. But the way we came up with that 250 number, generally speaking, was what we believe to be the cost of a deputy, and that includes the vehicle, that includes the equipment, that includes the weapons, that includes everything. So that's just that's a topical number that we would kind of assign to what an FTE would cost from a deputy perspective if all of the equipment was included. So, but we know that one deputy can't cover that area exclusively 24/7. So you have to consider that it would take multiple deputies if we were going to have somebody there around the clock, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. Because that would only be allotting for an 8-hour period or a 10-hour period in our case, per day. And so with 2 days off, so you got to have multiple people to adequately cover that, which is why one deputy, you can't just figure that one deputy could adequately do that.
Well, Mr. Chairman, will Thompson Station provide an office there at their city hall?
I think that they're prepared to do that, is my understanding. I don't think space is an issue. Mr. Chair, do you have a?
They said that they've got grand plans and we'll have to find the tax base to support it.
I think their ultimate goal is to have their own police department. That's what they want. But that's going to be a pretty extraordinary cost. And they're looking and researching at what Eagleville did and looking at some other areas to see how they would ramp that up and if they can fund it, based on the revenue that they potentially have coming in.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Sheriff, I'll go back on the other thing that, the cities are certainly funding their police and fire departments. And so in Franklin and Brentwood, it's 50% of the budget for police and fire combined. So let's say 25% for fire, or police rather. And it does cost a lot, as you know. And so, my concern has always been Thompson Station, if they're a city, they should provide city services to the residents and not expect the rest of us, we're all taxpayers, to subsidize that. So I encourage you to perhaps get with Ms. Riley and your team and figure out what is the true cost, because you told Commissioner Hester there, it's not just one officer and one patrol car, it's multiple officers and multiple cars if you gave them adequate law enforcement in the community of Thompson Station. So I understand they've got to take steps toward us, but they've been in the city quite a few years. We need to get rolling with that. And my thing would be the citizens will benefit from it in Thompson Station, as well as the citizens in the other cities and in the county, not having that tax burden.
I'd be happy to do that. And I'll be happy to work toward that.
I'm glad to support you in that. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. Thank you.
Any other questions from the committee? Commissioner Sturgeon.
Yeah, what I'm trying to remember, because this has been a progression. It used to be we were giving them, 8 hours of a sheriff's deputy a day? Somehow that was the calculation. And don't we have four sheriff's deputies patrolling the county at any one time?
Well, I would hope that we have more than that on any given shift.
Yeah,
I think
so
our
how many
minimum
do we have?
our minimum standard is higher than that, including a supervisor. But if it was at least while I've been sheriff, we've never been able to dedicate someone to them 8 hours. It's the understanding that Thompson Station is a zone. Okay, so we assign a deputy to that zone, but just like any other zone in the county, we have to go where the calls are. So even though we're trying to allocate a deputy in that area, they potentially may be pulled to another zone based on the call volume.
How many zones do we have?
There's 5 zones, is that right?
It's 5 zones, 6 count.
6 count Thompson Station.
So you have a deputy that has one of these other zones, plus Thompson Station?
No, we have someone dedicated to Thompson Station in addition to every other zone. We just consider Thompson Station a zone, so 6 zones. So including the supervisor, we should always have at least 6 deputies out there on the street, 1 per zone. Ideally.
It used to
And
be
sometimes,
less.
and sometimes
It used to be
more.
less than 6.
Beg your pardon?
It used to be less
Oh,
than
yeah.
6, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So now we have 6, and
Yes,
you probably keep track of how many calls go to Thompson Station, that's how you,
we do. Yeah, we just recently did a study on that. Captain Mobley did a resource allocation, so we know exactly how much time we spent and how much resources we allocated toward Thompson Station. I don't have that information here with me today, but it is available.
I thought you said it was like 17%? Does that sound?
Off the top of my head, I can't tell you, I can't recall exactly what that is, but we do have
A
that.
significant number of 411
Yeah.
calls came from Thompson Station.
Yeah, and
911.
And also in addition to that, Connor Scott and the folks over at the 911 Communications also figured how much time that they allocate dispatchers, because they have to have dispatch services as well. So they also looked at that in comparison to our resources to calculate a number as well.
So how much is it costing us?
And so I can't give you that number off the top of my head. I don't know.
Well, is it like twice as much as what they're paying? 10 times as much as what they're paying? I mean,
I think it's substantially more than they're paying. They're getting a bargain, no doubt about it. But again, as Mayor Stover said in the meeting, we're paying what we were asked to pay. So it was kind of putting it back on us. And so to Commissioner Webb's comment, I think that we need to sit down and come up with a realistic number and present that to Mayor Stover and to their city administrator, Michael Parsons, and come up with something that is a little more realistic compared to what that actual cost is.
well, I'd like to see the realistic number.
Okay, yeah. And if you get with me, I can get you the report that Captain Mobley's prepared.
Very good. Sounds like you've accumulated a lot of data. Use
Yes.
that and negotiate hard. Any further questions from the committee? Seeing none, I think we're ready to vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? We'll mark that unanimous. Resolution 9-25-42, resolution appropriating and amending the 2025-2026 Williamson County Sheriff's Office budget by $5,346, revenues to come from rollover federal grant funds.
Motion.
Second. Very good. This sounds pretty self-explanatory, but.
This is a rollover grant that we shared with Franklin City. We expended our portion. We're waiting on Franklin to expend this portion, but we had to roll it over for them to do the reimbursement.
Very good. Any questions from the committee? Commissioners? Seeing none, I think we're ready to vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? We'll mark that unanimous. Resolution 9-25-43, resolution authorizing the Williamson County Mayor to execute memorandums of understanding concerning the provision of school resource officers. A motion?
Motion.
A second?
Mr. Chairman, this is the annual MOU to provide the provision of school resource officers to Franklin Special Schools and the Williamson County Board of Education.
Any questions from the committee? Commissioners? Seeing none, I think we're ready to vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Mark that unanimous. Resolution 9-25-44. Watch sitting down. Coming back around. Resolution appropriating and amending the 2025-26 Sheriff's Office budget by $40,000. Revenues to come from grant funds. Have a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Mr. Chair, this is the annual Toledo grant that we have applied for. It's carryover funds, and it does not require any matching funds.
Any questions from the committee, commissioners? Seeing none, I think we're ready to vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Mark that unanimous. Resolution 9-25-45. Resolution appropriating and amending the 2025-26 Sheriff's Office budget by $73,448 revenues to come from rollover federal grant funds. A motion? Second. Very good. Same thing.
Again, the grant, rollover grant for the Violent Crime Task Force Intervention Fund, carryover funds not expended last year.
Any questions from the committee? Commissioners? Seeing none, I think we're ready to vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? We'll mark that unanimous. Resolution 9-25-46, resolution appropriating and amending the 2025-2026 Emergency Management Agency budget by $373,652.57. Revenues to come from rollover state grant funds.
Motion.
Connors, it's the same thing we just heard from the sheriff department.
It is, sir, yes. This is unspent grant funding that needs to carry over to this fiscal year. It's for a project we're doing with the county schools and Franklin Special School District to improve routing on school buses.
Any questions from the committee? Commissioners? Seeing none, I think we're ready to vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Mark it unanimous. Resolution 9-25-47, resolution to authorize the establishment and assessment of fees collected by the Williamson County Animal Center for Williamson County residents, non-Williamson County residents, and full-time Williamson County employees. A motion?
Motion.
A second. Andrea, does this go towards catios?
All the catios have been sponsored, so you've missed your opportunity there. But we realize that even at these increased rates, it's still quite a bargain. Vet care is very expensive, so we felt like it was time for us to increase some of these fees.
Mr. Webb.
Andrea, do you think that this might reduce the number of adoptions, or do you think the adoption rate will keep up at the higher fee?
Well, even though this says adoption services, I think that must be what the fees fall under, because this is really only related to spay-neuter surgeries.
Okay.
And that we've increased, we didn't increase the in-county rates all that much. We increased the out-of-county prices a little bit more. We have, our schedule varies, so when we get really busy, we actually discontinue out-of-county services if we have a high demand for in-county service. So, we try to balance it. During the winter, when things slow down, we do more out-of-county. But we like for the out-of-county folks to offset the in-county.
Any other questions from the committee? Commissioners? Commissioner Sturgeon?
I'm just curious what a crypt orchid neuter is. That is when their testicles have not descended and they are still in the abdomen. So it's more like a spay surgery than a neuter.
Can't they just wait?
They don't always descend. Thank you.
I'm ready to vote.
and now glad these are recorded. Note that in the minutes. If there are no further questions or comments, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? And mark it unanimous. Resolution 9-25-48. Resolution authorizing the Williamson County Mayor to enter into an interlocal agreement with the Town of Thompson Station and the Williamson County Emergency Communications District. A motion?
Motion.
Second. Very good.
Good afternoon again, Connor Scott, Public Safety Director. So this is an agreement with the Town of Thompson Station for them to begin funding dispatch fees towards what we provide for dispatch services. The way we came up with this number, as you heard from the sheriff, they cover the county with 6 zones, and Thompson Station is one of those 6 zones. So what we did to be most fair is that we charge organizations based on the cost to have a seat filled. So for the sheriff's office to have a seat filled for dispatch, it's about $256,000. So we cut that number into 6, looking at Thompson Station as 1/6 of that charge, and that's how we came up with this number.
Very good. Any questions from the committee about that?
I
Commissioners?
don't see a number.
It's actually in the interlocal, it's not in the resolution, but it's on page number 2. It's 42,830.83, it says.
Thank you for that explanation. Any other questions from the committee? Seeing none, I think we're ready to vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? I'll mark that unanimous. Resolution 9-25-49, resolution authorizing the Williamson County Mayor to enter into an interlocal agreement with the City of Franklin for the provision of firefighting and emergency response services.
Motion.
Second.
This is a MOU for automatic aid between the county fire departments and the Franklin Fire Department, which allows them to cover a sliver of 65 and 840, which is closer to Franklin Station 7. They're able to get there more quickly than the units coming from Paydensville or from Goose Creek. So we've worked on this agreement. There is no dollar amount or funds exchanged in this particular agreement. It's just an interlocal between us to have a more efficient response.
Just for information, Mr. Chairman, he mentioned Station 7. I doubt many people in this room know where Station 7 is.
Is that by the Ag Center?
It is, yes, it's the one right behind. Nailed it. Nailed it.
Ag Center. Yeah. All right, last thing, I'll get right to that. Any other questions from the committee, commissioners? Seeing none, I think we're ready to vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Mark that unanimous. Resolution 9-25-50, resolution authorizing the Williamson County Mayor to enter into a memorandum of understanding with the town of Thompson Station concerning an on-site wastewater treatment system for the new proposed fire and rescue station. A motion?
Motion.
A second? Second. Very good.
So as you hopefully know, we are planning to build a new fire station in the Burwood community at the corner of Carter's Creek Pike and Thompson Station Road West. And we, of course, need a septic system at that site. That site will be within the Thompson Station town limits. So this is an MOU delineating the ownership of that system will belong to the county, but the management of that system is going to be an advanced filtration system that requires additional monitoring, sampling, and whatnot. That will be performed by the town of Thompson Station. And by doing this, this allows us to go to the final design and be able to bid that station out for construction.
Very good. Any questions from the committee about that? Commissioners? Seeing none, I think we're ready to vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Unanimous. Resolution 9-25-51. Resolution accepting the generous donation of a poll camera from the City of Franklin on behalf of the Williamson County Sheriff's Office. Have a motion?
Motion.
As I understand it, we saw Franklin over at the dump and they were dropping off a poll camera and you said, hey, we could use that?
Mr. Chairman, that's correct. The city of Franklin was gonna surplus this to the dumpster and we took possession of it and are putting it in use.
Very good. Any questions from the committee about that? Commissioners? Seeing none, I think we're ready to vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? We'll mark that unanimous. Resolution 9-25-52, resolution to surplus and approve the conveyance of various law enforcement related equipment to Hickman County, Tennessee, and authorize the Williamson County Mayor to execute all documentation needed to complete the conveyance. Do I have a motion?
Second.
I think this is just the flip side of what we just went through.
Yes, sir. Mr. Chairman, this is equipment that we no longer are using, law enforcement tactical carriers and helmets. We're donating to, they've got no civilian purpose, so we're donating it to the Hickman County Sheriff's Office.
Just out of curiosity, and that's legal. When we do a contract like this, and I'll just take one of the ballistic helmets that were mentioned here. If there was a situation that would be a lawsuit.
As is.
That's my question. Is it as is, they accept full responsibility for that?
Yeah, I mean, they would have the same governmental liability, tort liability that we would have, but acceptance of the gift. And I'm struggling here to think of a cause of action that gets them back to us if they accept the gift, if we don't have a known defect or something.
I realize, excuse me, Mr. Chairman, I realize anybody can sue for any reason. I get that. But if,
The probability of success, I do not believe is significant.
But we make steps in those contracts that you all are doing that they accept it as is. You know, we don't
Correct.
know if there's a recall on that metal ballistic element. I have no earthly idea.
Right.
Are there any further questions from the committee, commissioners? Seeing none, I think we're ready to vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? We'll mark that unanimous. This is our final resolution, Resolution 9-25-53. Resolution authorizing the Williamson County Mayor to execute an intergovernmental agreement with the Metropolitan Government of Nashville and Davidson County. Do you have a motion?
Motion.
Second. This is
Mr. Chairman, this
Crimes
is
Against Children.
the ICAC grant. We spend the $10,000 then reimbursed through the state, well, by the state through the Metro Police Department. So this is $10,000 reimbursement for money we spend in our ICAC investigation.
Any questions from the committee? Any questions from the commissioners? Seeing none, I think we're ready to vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? We'll mark that unanimous. I believe that is it for our committee's business. If there's no new business, we'll take a motion to adjourn. So moved.